Alright guys, so today I wanted to do a lesson on the fundamental needs of humans. So for the fundamental needs of humans, it's how we're going to learn about history for lower elementary. Because every society throughout all of time that involves humans has had these same needs. And how they fulfill them is what changes and what kind of affects events around the world. So once you get to upper elementary, you'll look at the fundamental needs kind of as a way of how did those needs and what was needed affect like what happened in an event in the world or in a society. So with that in mind, you guys, you have at school we have a set of drawers. As we go through each need, we'll give you kind of the stuff for them. But we also have a drawer up here up top that will have all of the fundamental needs in it. And then each drawer goes down and breaks into each fundamental need, and we'll do that as we go along. So, you guys have this lovely chart right here. And what I'm going to do, and what you guys are going to do, is fill it out with me as we go along. So here at the top, I'm going to write fundamental needs of humans, which is F, U, N, D, A, M, E, N, T, A, L, and then needs is going to be N, E, E, D, S. Fundamental needs. And if you want to, you can write of OF humans down below. Because as I said, all humans throughout time are going to have the same needs. So for second grade and up, you guys will be looking at how some different societies throughout time fulfilled these needs this year. And kindergarten and first grade, we're going to be learning about what the needs are so that when you get up into that grade, you guys can do that. So fundamental needs. Our fundamental needs are broken into two different categories. We have material needs, which are things that we can touch and hold and see. And then we have spiritual needs, which are things that are still really important, but aren't something that like we can see or touch necessarily. So here on our chart, we're going to write all of our material needs underneath here. So materials Material. And mine wrote slightly outside of it. That's okay. So we're going to go over all of our material needs first. So I'm going to move this guy back actually, because we're going to fill it in as we go. But also I want you to be able to see the pictures I've got here. So the first material need, if we follow our chart down here, is clothing. So clothing is something that humans have always needed as protection from weather and other features in their environment. It's worn for safety, for comfort, and for modesty. And clothing, you guys, differs by culture and society. So people from different areas and different cultures wear different things. And this is the picture that we have for clothing. Clothing on your list, you guys, is going to be right here again. We're going to write clothing, C-L-O-T-H-I-N and a G for clothing. My handwriting's not the nicest writing upside down, but that's okay. And if we go down our list, our next one that we have is money. So money is anything that is accepted as payment for goods or services. So if someone does something for you, then you would pay them. Or if you like get something from someone or from the store, you have a way to pay them. And it's not always money like we have here in the US. Throughout the centuries, it's been things like shells, salt, different types of coins and paper money. And another word for money can also be currency. So money, the picture that we have, is a bunch of coins. But we know that it's not always been coins that people have used to pay for things. So next to clothing here, we're going to write money. M-O-N-E-Y. Money. Then our next one on our list, you guys, right here is health. Health, for fundamental needs of humans, we define as a positive state of living as well as the absence of disease, so not being sick. So And health isn't just your physical body, you guys, it's also your mental, physical, and emotional health. So it's that you're feeling okay, that your like brain is doing okay, you're not like super anxious, you're not super sad, that you're kind of happy and content. And in a lot of places, doctors and hospitals help sick people. So health is down here, and this is our picture for health, which is a lot of things that really takes care of the physical body, but we definitely want to make sure that our mental and emotional health are also included in there because those are very important as well. So health is HEALTH. Health. Actually, I'm just going to show you guys on this one from now on because that'll be easier than you reading my upside down writing. All right, so we have health, and then the next one over we have is food. So food is necessary to the survival of humans and animals. It is anything that is eaten or drank for nutrition or for pleasure. For humans, food can include both plants and animals, and depending on what culture or what your family follows, what types of food you eat and don't eat can vary, which is okay. And the picture we have for food is all these lovely vegetables. Food on our chart is going to be right here. FOOD for food. If we move along, our next one is defense. So defense, you guys, is something that humans have always needed some sort of defense from both animals and other humans. We weren't always the biggest predators on the planet. If we think back to the Ice Age, there was things that were a lot bigger and could eat us. And even today, we don't really want to go out into the wild and just mess with a bear or with a lion. Defense is important. So defense, though, can also include things like buildings, because things like can't get into buildings, locks and alarms, or like military forces like we talked about today could be like defense for an entire nation or country or set of people, like an army or a navy. Our picture for defense, though, is one that's kind of simple to remind us that it's not always something big. Sometimes it's something as small as a lock on a door to keep things out or other people out that we don't want to get into our stuff. Our next one, if we look on our chart here, we're going to go down and all the way down here to transportation. We've got a picture of some cars here for transportation. But transportation is really just the way that people use to get around. At first, people used their own feet or different animals like horses because we didn't have cars. And then we invented the steam engine, and we kind of invented cars and trains and stuff along the way that we now use today. I know one popular mode of transportation in other countries, though, is still by foot or by bicycle or even by motorbike. So depending on where you live depends on what kind of transportation you use. And even within where you live, what you have access to varies. So communication, you guys, is next to transportation here. We have these two people that are kind of like whispering to each other. Because communication is the process of transferring information from one person to the other. So how do we let another person know about some information? It can be done by talking or writing. Modern communication includes the phone and the internet. And there's been a whole bunch of different types of communication over time and a whole lot of different languages that are both spoken, written, or there's things like sign language, which use your hands rather than being written down or spoken for communication. Our second to last material need is tools. So for tools, you guys here, I have a picture of a hammer and a ruler and some other things because tools are something that humans have used since the very beginning of time. Upper Elementary is going to do some work this week. We're looking at early humans, or this year, looking at early humans, and part of what they're going to look at is those specific tools. So originally those tools were made from rocks or animal bones, and tools were used for building and are used for building and farming. Tools are also used for drawing, writing, and eating. So my Sharpie that I have here that I was writing with is a tool for writing. And even these cards that we are using is a tool to help you guys learn the fundamental needs of humans. And then our last one here, which I don't have my card for though, is shelter. So shelter is any system that people use to stay out of the elements like rain, snow, extreme heat, that kind of keeps them also safe at night from anything that might be outside. So how different types of shelter have varied a lot over the years and over cultures. Not everything is the same. here in America, a lot of native peoples on the plains, some of them use teepees. On the coast, a lot of them built big lodges. It just really depends on what kind of conditions you're living in and how you're living as to what your shelter looks like. And that's okay. So that's all of our material needs here on this side. Now we're going to go over to spiritual. So I'm going to have you guys write spiritual in on your chart there. S-P-I-R-I-T-U-A-L. We're going to go down. We're going to go this way first to social acceptance. So all humans need social acceptance from their family, friends, and others in society. So social acceptance is necessary for physical and mental health, and without it, people can become depressed and lonely. So social acceptance is really just being accepted by society and the people around you for who you are. And that's kind of one that's been looked at a lot recently with like how different peoples and cultures vary within our society even for what's accepted and what's not, and it's been an interesting kind of changeover in society for that one, and it's something that people are constantly kind of talking about and changing. But the most important thing is that you need, and every human needs to feel accepted by the people that are closest to them, otherwise it's not a really very fun feeling. So social acceptance is this little girl, and I'm assuming who is her mother, hanging out and playing, which is super important. And I know you guys get to do that with your families a lot. Our next one here, you guys, is one that's a little bit tricky to think about. It's culture. Culture is the pattern of human activity, like traditions, stories, and behavioral expectations. So kind of how you're supposed to behave and act. And culture is manifested in a lot of ways. So it includes a lot of things like music, literature, art, museums, film, stories that are kind of passed down between people. So here we have this child looking around in what I'm assuming is a museum exhibit that has a bunch of different things from the sea. And so that is the culture that that child is exploring, is looking at that and learning about the world around them. And then if we go down in our chart, we have over here our legal system. So legal systems are something that all society needs some form of. This can be something that's pretty informal, like village elders or a council, or it can be kind of complicated, which like our government has with judges and laws. And the legal system, most importantly, decides what to do if a law or an expectation is broken. And so for legal system, for our picture here, we have a judge, because that's pretty common where we live today for remembering what a legal system is. And our last one here, you guys, we're going to talk actually quite a bit about in the coming months with different religions. Because a religion is a set of practices or beliefs that involve some kind of higher power. Often it is some form of deity or another, which is a god or gods. It includes things that are traditions, writing, history, faith, different holidays, and there are so many different religions in the world, you guys. We can't even cover them all here. We're just going to cover some of the major ones as we go along these next few months. And for that, we have a set of hands that are kind of pointing up at the sky, because a lot of religions involve some sort of trying to communicate or talk with that higher power. So that's kind of what we have going for that one. So I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to put this down if you need to pause to finish filling out your chart. I'm going to let you guys fill that out for second grade and possibly third grade, depends on what Miss Laura lets you know. You have a couple different societies you can pick from, and I'll go more into detail with the project and how you want to do it with you individually. But you're going to go over each of these fundamental needs for different societies. So the societies we have to pick from right now are the Greeks, the Egyptians, early humans, and Renaissance, and modern man, I believe. So I will let you pick which one of those you want to start with. We will eventually get through all of them over the course of the next few months. Let me know in your next individual meeting. And lower elementary, I'll let you guys fill this out, and then don't worry about it for now. We will keep going through the specific ones in the weeks to come. Thanks, guys.